I'm about to tell you all the secrets about how we find the right client for our business. Your client base is a bunch of people that have agreed to trust you and let you provide services to them. So if you have a client base with a group of people that don't trust you, then they will push back on you. And so as an agency or a service-based organization, when you're trying to grow with your current client base, you're leading them, you're taking them places. You're saying, hey, we use a new software, you need to use it. And they have to go with you. And when you find a base pushing back on all of these decisions, you have a client base that's starting to decide for you how you get to and do not get to grow because of the way that they push back. And so a lot of this pushback is friction. So then the owners come in and they spend a lot of time managing poor client base friction in their growth moves. And that becomes hard on the owners. So how do you assess this? Well, if you have a client base that was not built strategically, what you do is you grade them. A lot of people grade their client base. And if the base is large enough to where you don't really know everybody, then grading them on a spreadsheet, A, B, C, D, that's a very common way to do it, helps you chop up this base into what part of it is strategic that will grow with us, what part of it is not. You may ask, what makes an A client? That A client is somebody you know, they trust you, they're ready to be led. They're actually growing and expanding a lot of times. It is a full-on alignment with that client, so those are A. The D clients are ones who always push back. They're grumpy, they don't listen, they don't want to grow, they're fine with status quo. And if you're trying to grow your organization and you have a lot of D clients, you will be dragging them through your growth. We call those anchor clients. So what they do is they lock an anchor down in the sand. As you're driving your boat to grow and moving forward, the D clients become an anchor and they hold you back. And it really becomes frustrating. You start dragging them, pulling them, begging them. Those are the clients you really don't need in your client base. So you want to build your client base strategically. Now, as you move forward, you're an organization that's expanding and growing, and you want a client base that will expand and grow with you. So how do you do that? Well, it's important to understand the foundation of a service-based company and its client base is very trust-based because it's a relationship. So everything you're doing is to build trust in a relationship as quick as possible. That's how you bring in a client that's going to be an A client. And the way we do that is through a process we call client onboarding. And it walks clients through a series of steps that creates trust. And how do we create trust? Well, we call it barriers to entry. So it's a very counterintuitive way that we bring a client in. So we put a barrier in the way of a client and say, you must jump over this barrier. And if they do, it displays trust, and that trust gets embedded deeper into the relationship. So, for example, we're referred a client and we tell the client, hey, we're so glad for this referral. Please fill out our form online. That is the first step to begin our process. And that is our first barrier to entry. Notice it's a very low barrier, right? We would expect every client to trust us enough and desire our service enough to jump that barrier and go fill out the form. Some will push back, right? And that's what we want. If they email back and go, well, I just want to be a client, I want to have a conversation real quick, I don't want to fill out the form yet. That's step number one. And you think it's small, and it's not small. It's an insight into the client's willingness to be led. So once that client has filled out the form, which you asked them to do, proving the point they're ready to be led, maybe a second step, and this is something we do, my partner sends them a document, and it's called What We Believe. Julie sent the What We Believe document and asked if they believe what we believe. Now it's time for step 3. Step 3 is simply an email from me. I follow up from Julie. And it's important. My step 3 is to try to get positive assent from that potential client to move forward. And when you get a human to say, yes, I'm interested, I want to move forward, they have imbued more trust into the relationship in that positive assent back. So my step 3 is very important. And of course, they've only come to me in the process in the third step. So you're a leader. I'm a leader. My time's very valuable. I'm trying to put me down lower in the process so they don't get access to me until the third step. So that third step is key. There's 4 more steps to our onboarding process, and you can read about them online in our ebook. Just go to resources on our website and download the ebook. It's titled Pricing, but it has all of our alignment steps on bringing in a new client that trusts us when we're growing. When you have built a client base strategically, you get a lot of great things out of that. Some of those are you're going to really enjoy the relationships you work with. That client base is going to accept price increases from you. They're going to work strategically with your team. They're going to accept your team. And that client base is going to grow, and they're going to help you grow too.